the yellow light shining down, the yellow light shining down, the yellow light shining down, the yellow light shining.
Hey! 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
The section that we observed cars at was Ocean Main Street going west.
Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things you do.
The second intersection we observed at was Union and 111, cars going south.
Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to say it.
The third intersection we observed at was South Bay and Main Street, cars going east.
Now shut up and drive, 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 drive. Shut up and drive, drive, drive. I got class like a 57 Cadillac. Got overdrive with a whole lot of boom in the back. You look like you could handle what's under my...
The fourth intersection we observed at was Comac and Sunrise, cars going north.
Baby, give me that, and let me get that. Running her hands through my fro, bouncing on 24s. Why they saying I'm ready? It's the remix to Ignition, hot and...
The fifth intersection we observed at was Main Street and Carlton, cars going south.
Oh, you got a fast car. I wanted to get to anywhere.
Hi, I'm Kassidy Mullins, and I'm one of the 3 researchers that took part in the study to see whether drivers slow down or speed up at the sight of the yellow light. The introduction of our study begins with the abstract. Let me read it to you. An observational study determining whether drivers slow down or speed up at the sight of a yellow light was investigated over the course of 2 days. Each day having opposite weather conditions, investigators were curious to see if the gender, age of driver, or car brand affected the driver's action at the light. After hours of waiting at different intersections for the light to turn yellow, a total of 75 cars were used in observing. At 5 different traffic lights, 15 cars were witnessed as either slowing down or speeding up. While looking back at the results, the observed drivers represent no correlation to their action with their car type, age, gender, or the weather conditions. We even tested at the sight of a red light camera, and drivers still varied on how they interpreted the sight of the yellow light. If having to specify, women for the most part tend to slow down more than males do at yellow light. However, typically the biggest factor may be the distance from the light as it turns yellow. Reckless drivers may risk running a red light if it means it's one last minute of waiting at the light to turn green again, if they speed up. Speeding up could potentially end up with a T-bone accident, but on the other hand, slamming on the brakes could result in a dangerous fender bender accident. Luckily, no accidents were witnessed during the observed study, but great evidence showed us that nearly half the population speeds up while the other half slows down. Based on our study, 38 cars at different intersections sped up, while 37 cars slowed down. Our evidence proves that in society today, the interpretation of the sight of a yellow light is quite varied based on the driver.
Hi, I'm Olivia Lorenz, and I'm another one of the 3 researchers that conducted a study regarding whether or not cars speed up or slow down at yellow lights. So, we went to 5 different intersections, one that has a red light camera, and we observed 15 cars at each intersection, ensuring that we observed 75 cars in total.
Being the data recorder, I had to be very focused and concentrated as the drivers drove by through each yellow light. We witnessed a plethora of different ages, car brands, and genders as they drove by. Throughout our observing, we also witnessed a wide variety of different brands of cars, from Volkswagen to Toyotas to Mercury, Subaru, Saturns, a whole bunch. Now, we also noticed that there is no trend between the type of car as to whether they slow down or speed up. For instance, take Honda. 4 different Hondas slowed down, and 6 Hondas sped up. But then Nissan, 5 Nissans slowed down, and 2 only sped up. There's no correlation at all. Basically, The distance from the light is the biggest factor that influences what people decide to do at the sight of a yellow light. Based on our charts, it is quite clear that more men speed up than women. Although our survey sample consisted of more men as opposed to women, it was a clean sweep which showed that men often speed up more than women, who tend to slow down more. Based on who we sampled and our chart, it is quite clear that there tend to be more 40s and 50-year-olds on the road as opposed to teenagers or elderlies. With our group, we realized that 40s and 50-year-olds really speed up, but often a lot of them also slow down. There's no correlation between the age group and what they tend to do. We did find out that the 270s often slowed down, but age groups such as 20s, 30s, and 60s had a variety of both. In conclusion, we could tell that no matter what the age is, they might slow down or speed up. There's no correlation. For the most part, we observed that there is no correlation between the action at the sight of a yellow light as opposed to the driver, age, gender, or type of car they drive.
However, we did identify a common trend that males tend to speed up more frequently when presented with a yellow traffic light, opposed to women who tend to slow down.
Generally, the biggest factor that we determined to push the driver as to speeding or slowing down is the distance from the light.
Typically, if they're close enough where they can go through the yellow light without hitting a red light, they'll speed up. If they're too far and they know they can't make the yellow light where they would run a red light, they will slow down.
However, in both of these cases, there are accidents that can happen. If a driver speeds up and runs a red light, there could be a T-bone accident that happens with the corresponding side. However, if they slam on the brakes, a dangerous fender bender could also take place, so be careful while driving.
Unfortunately, there are problems in all aspects of research. Some of the problems we encountered was cars tend to drive very quick, so if they are speeding up, it's hard to identify the gender and the type of car. Also, we noticed that a couple cars had their windows tinted, so we also could not identify who the driver was. So what we did was we recorded every 5th car that passed through, so that we had a lot of evidence to back up our research. Unfortunately, another problem we experienced was while we were recording, sometimes there was no car that was approaching a yellow light. Another problem that we experienced that causes bias is a red light camera. An intersection that has a red light camera may cause cars to be more cautious. If they know they're going to run a red light and they might get caught, their photograph will be taken, they'll get a ticket in the mail, and they'll be fined. To avoid this, they would most likely slow down, which could also cause bias in our research, which is another problem we work to avoid. One last problem that we experienced was weather conditions. We needed to ensure that we observed cars in all types of weather conditions, sunny and rainy, because that could cause bias. If it's rainy, obviously cars are going to be driving more cautious. Maybe that'll affect our research, telling us that they slow down more frequently than they actually do. So what we did is one day we went out and we recorded cars on a sunny afternoon, and the following day we recorded cars when it was rainy and very overcast. In our discussion, we discuss what future researchers and other researchers can do when researching whether cars speed up or slow down at yellow lights. What we can tell you from our experience is that it is very important to go to many different intersections, expand into other towns, record many cars, and physically record the data as well. It's important to go to red light cameras, different speed zones, look at all genders, all car types, to eliminate bias in your research. It is also very important to ensure that you get all types of weather conditions, also to eliminate bias. There are also many other things to take into consideration when you're conducting your study, such as proximity to the yellow light, male or female, the type of car, and the area in which you're studying. Maybe even try to be undercover, because if a car sees you recording, they might be suspicious and drive slower.
Hello, I'm here interviewing
Vlad,
at the age of
37,
who drives a,
Dodge, Magnum,
and at the sight of a yellow light, he
spitting.
You speed up?
Yes.